Hey YouTubers, welcome back to the channel. This is Everyday Finance and I'm your host Bobby. If this is your first time on the channel, welcome. Thank you so much for taking time out to watch this video. While you're here, if you enjoy this content, be sure to smash that like, subscribe, and don't forget to ring that notification bell so that you'll get updates on future content and videos similar to what you'll see in today's video. Now for today's video, we're gonna take a look at timeshares. We've covered timeshares in a couple of videos previously. We're actually going to go into the comment section and answer all of the questions that you guys have with regards to that. So without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Guys, so today's video is all about the Q&A with timeshares. Now we've covered timeshares on previous videos. If you haven't done so already, go back and take a look at those videos. Now we've covered timeshares in general. We covered timeshares on Airbnb as well. And also we kind of overlapped a bit talking about VRBO. Now what we're actually going to do is we're going to jump into the comment section on all of those videos and answer all of the questions just so you guys can see exactly what the questions and answers are, because it may be something that you have a question about as well. And also guys, if you have a question that hasn't been answered yet, or if you have something you just thought of right now, go ahead and add it to the comments of this video and we can continue this series and I can answer more questions for you guys with regards to timeshares. All right, so our first question comes from Diane Vickers, and this was a question we received 9 months ago. Should I invest in a timeshare? Now, I answered this question within the comments as I try to get to your questions as quickly as I can, guys. But the answer then was yes, depending on the location and price, you should invest in timeshares. Now, to go into a more detailed explanation of that, timeshares are another way of creating residual income for yourself and your family. In addition to that, it gives you the ability to have a fixed price in terms of vacations every year that you don't necessarily always see. As we've seen with the prices currently, everything is in an influx. It goes up and it comes down. And the same can be true when it comes to leisure activities such as vacationing as well. Now with a timeshare, in addition to having it as a residual income source, you also have the option of choosing, depending on the type of timeshare you have, whether it be point-based or calendar-based, a particular week, typically a week range or so, of when you want to have that vacation every year. And you know exactly what your costs are going to be that are associated with that. Another good thing about timeshares, Diane, is that maintenance costs or fees are fixed, and they typically are exponentially less than what you would have if you had a vacation home or property. Because you could look at timeshares almost like the same way you would do like a GoFundMe or crowdsource items, because that's essentially what you're doing is you're buying a property as a part of a larger faction of people. So I hope that answers your question, Diane. Okay, so our next question came from Deanna Malloy. She asked, can you make a video on how to rent out timeshares since you have a specific week? Now, I did do a video on timeshares on Airbnb as well as VRBO, which are typically the destination sites when it comes to not only renting out timeshares, but also vacation homes or people's actual residence. Now, having a specific week, it requires a little bit more detailed information in terms, and I didn't put this on the Airbnb video, but after looking at these questions and thinking about it, it's something that I probably should have done. In terms of renting these out, regardless of what website or app utility you use to rent out your timeshare during the select week that you have it, because of the way that the calendars work on those websites, i.e. Airbnb, where people go in and they'll select when it is that they want a vacation or whatnot, and then see the prices based upon those dates. Now, because you only have one specific week, it's imperative that within the detailed information on the property or the detailed information within the notes on the property that you put in there that this property is only available for rental within this specific week. Okay, so our next question comes from Totally Tripping. Hi there. I currently do this and have been doing it since 2010, but the one thing I need help with better understanding are taxes in regards to making profit from my timeshares. Is there a good email or number that I can contact you? Not certain if you know much about this. Okay. Now, I did receive an email about this and the issue that Totally Tripping was having with regards to taxes. Now, I won't reveal that email or anything, but I can tell you the gist of it was that she was asking because she owns timeshares within Mexico and she lives within the United States and she's doing business within the United States. And she has to contribute taxes to both the United States and Mexico. And she was wondering if I knew anything with regards to that, with regards to how much she would have to pay in taxes, if there was something that she could use or some type of loophole to save her money with regards to taxes, whether it be within the US or in Mexico. And after doing some detailed information gathering, the answer to this question is that yes, she would have to pay taxes 2 times, but let me explain that further. Because the timeshares are within Mexico, you'll have to pay taxes on what you earn from those properties in Mexico. Now, after doing some research, I found that that amount is 25% of what she would earn gross from those properties in Mexico. Now, because she has multiple properties, meaning 5 or more properties within Mexico, the best way to alleviate those taxes would be to add what she earned gross from the previous calendar year, take 25% of that and spread it out amongst those properties into the pricing for this calendar year. And what I mean by that is basically if she earned, let's say $20,000 for 2022, then take over all of her properties, then take 25% of that gross and spread that out price-wise into what you're currently charging in 2023 so that you don't have to have a significant change in terms of the price that you're asking your customers to pay. And then it isn't significantly cutting into your earnings from those properties as well. Now, the second part of this is paying taxes within the US. Now, the reason why she would have to pay taxes within the US is because the profit that she receives from the timeshares, she has to pay taxes in Mexico on. But then all of the income that she receives in totality, in addition to the timeshares, under the business that's within the US, you have to pay business taxes on. So it is being taxed twice, but it's not double taxation, if that makes sense to you guys. So I hope that answers your question, Totally Tripping. Right now, I think that's everything from this particular video. Let's go ahead and go to the next one. All right, now our next question comes from Heidi Halls. She says, I have had a lot more success with renting my timeshare point reservations with Red Week. Airbnb requires a lot more work for posting and deducts more when someone rents it. Using the calendar to post a timeshare isn't user-friendly either. Airbnb is more set up for something you own all year and can take reservations whenever. Posting a timeshare reservation requires you to block out a lot of dates, and you can't post multiple reservations because the pricing may be significantly different due to the season or event attached to the reservation. I was hoping you would talk about setting up calendar dates. Is there an easier way to do it for timeshares? Wow, absolutely great question, Heidi. To answer your question, this kind of goes into a question that we had earlier with regards to setting up calendar weeks, whether it be Airbnb, VRBO, or Red Week. The most foolproof way of doing this is just to go into Airbnb or VRBO, and within the description of your property, whether you're using exclamation points of whatever capitalization, make it a declaration within notes or the description of your property, the exact dates when your property is available. That way, when potential customers are viewing your listing, they know, okay, this is a timeshare. This property is only available during these dates. this is the only time that I can actually rent this property, so that they aren't necessarily confused or they don't have detailed information about it. Now, even in a case or situation where someone rents or let's say puts down a deposit on the property and they don't know or don't have specific information with regards to when the property is available, just send them a note or send them information saying, hey, I know that you placed a deposit down on this property. I just wanted to make sure that you understood that this property is only available during this particular date range and that this is the only time it's available. Now, I can wholeheartedly agree with you that the vast majority of rental sites that are out there cater more to people who have vacation homes or looking to rent out entire properties or rooms, or people who have the flexibility or availability to rent out those properties all year long. That is absolutely true, but it's just something that we have to tinker with more or less in order to have it fit within what we're available to do with the timeshare. Now, the second part of your question with regards to setting up calendar dates and pricing, here's something that you can do with regards to pricing. If your timeshare is landlocked, and what I mean by that is it's one specific location all the time. So let's say if you have a timeshare in Florida and your timeshare in Florida and your timeshare is during the month of May, June, July, somewhere in that range. If you know specifically what week it is, let's say it's the third week in May, what you can do in order to get comps or comparables in terms of pricing is look for homes that are listed, whether it be Airbnb or VRBO or whatever website or app utility you use, and just do comparisons there. List or go on and search specifically for the week that you have your property and look in areas that are surrounding your property. So let's say if you live in Florida and you're in Kissimmee, Miami, Tampa, someplace like that, then go and look at properties within those areas during that particular week. Not just one property, a handful of properties, or anywhere from 1 to 10 properties, and see what the pricing is that people are listing these properties for. Now, you probably will have a couple of outliers that are probably lower or higher than the price point that you're thinking about in your mind. The best thing to do in this case is take those price points and find an average. Now, averages are great because averages allow you to cater to both people who are looking for houses or homes for rent that are beneath that price point and people that are looking for houses that are above that price point. It allows you to kind of gather customers from both bases. So that's a great way that you can create pricing information for your timeshare, even if it's for a specific week or not. Now, you did list something within your question that caught my eye, and that was Red Week. Now, stay tuned, Heidi, because I'm actually digging into Red Week, and I'm going to do another video about timeshares and Red Week specifically. So stay tuned for that. That'll be coming soon. Right now, our next question comes from Vanita White. She asked, "Thanks for the video. It was very clear and easy to follow. Thank you for watching. I have a timeshare with Wyndham, and it's based on a point system. How would that work as far as renting it out?" Great question, Vanita. Now, point systems and calendar systems are a bit different. Now, for those that are unfamiliar with it, timeshare point-based systems are similar to what you'll see with airline credit cards or just credit cards in general, where you have reward systems that are set up that are point-based. You know, you have to earn this many points in order to have this many miles, or with this many points, you'll be able to get this item free. Now, the way that it works in this particular instance, she's talking about Wyndham. Wyndham is a company that has a chain of like hotels and different properties all throughout the country, if not the world, that based on the points that you have, you may be able to have a room or a space within the property based on the points that are allotted to you. Now, this is great because for someone with a timeshare, it gives you flexibility and mobility. What I mean by that is that it gives you the flexibility of not always being landlocked into one particular location every year. And it also gives you the mobility of being able to go to this destination one year, this destination the next year, as well as if you're looking to rent this property out as a source of residual income, it gives you the flexibility and ability to have a difference in terms of the locations, which also might present an opportunity to have an increase in terms of the income that you bring in, even though the amount that you pay may be the same. Now, in terms of bringing this out, it truly depends upon the agreement that you have set up. Now, some point-based timeshares do not allow you to sublet or sublease any timeshares that you have. It is listed within the agreement more than likely. You have to double back or sometimes even triple back over what's being said within that paperwork just to make sure that it is allowed. Now, there are some point-based systems that allow this, and you'll basically have to go through the same process that I kind of went through with Heidi in terms of putting it on a website or app utility tool and just listing that this property is available for this specific time frame at this particular location, so that anyone that's a potential customer knows that, hey, I can only rent this property during this particular time frame, and this is the only time that it's available, or, oh, it's a timeshare. So just having detailed information when it comes to renting your property out on Airbnb, VRBO, Rent Week, or whatever website that you use is the best way to go about it, so that you don't have to try to tinker the calendar system that's on Airbnb as well. Here's a great question. It comes from Nico Hazy. He asked, hey, how's it going? I purchased my timeshare from a salesman. Am I doomed? Oh, no, I actually did respond to this within the comment section. Hey, thanks for sharing. You may not be doomed because you bought it from a salesman. As long as your property agreement allows sublets, you can rent out your time for the property. Now, just to go into more detailed information, you aren't necessarily doomed because you bought something from a salesperson or through a website or whatnot. The proof is in the details when it comes to these things. You just have to be very detailed when it comes to understanding not only what it is that you're buying, but where you're buying it, as well as when you'll be able to use it, and any fees or anything associated with that property that you may have to pay out of pocket as well. So as long as you've got a detailed property agreement that gives you all of these terms and listed clearly without any variance whatsoever, you're completely fine. There's no difference in what you did versus what some people may view as being a trusted website or automated process in terms of buying a timeshare. So no, you're not necessarily doomed. You just have to be sure. You have to make sure that all of your boxes are checked in terms of making sure that all the information is there for you. That pretty much sums up all the questions that you guys had within the comment sections on timeshares. Now, once again, guys, if there are any questions that you have that weren't addressed here, or something that you want more information on or video on, go ahead and type in the comments of this video and ask away. What I'll do is we can continue this Q&A session, and I'll give you as much information as I can find available with regards to your questions, as well as answering them specific to what you asked, guys. And also, with regards to timeshares, I'm looking into creating a video on Rent Week, which is another big website that a lot of people use in terms of buying and selling timeshares. I'll give you guys a deep dive into that, as well as both sides of the coin, buying and renting out your timeshares there. So stay tuned for that as well, guys. And as always, I hope that this has been great information, educational, and entertaining for you and your families. If it has, guys, and you enjoyed this content, be sure to smash that like, subscribe, and don't forget to ring that notification bell so that you'll get updates on future content and videos similar to what you saw in today's video. And always remember, guys, there is no goal that is unobtainable when you apply everyday finance. I'll see you guys in the next video.